Hello, I'm Isaura, and welcome to How About a Story's Season of Fear. Where I take you down the road less traveled of unnerving twists and turns. These tales will crawl under your skin, seep into your brain, and turn your blood cold. We start with a tragedy that has been retold from generation to generation. So, gather around, my friends. Grab your beverage of choice, your blankie if you need one for support, and be ready to be transported to a faraway place where ghosts are searching for their long-lost loves. This is the tale of La Llorona. This is a story that the old ones have been telling to children for thousands of years. It is a sad tale, but it lives strong in the memories of the people, and there are many who swear that it's true. Long years ago, in a humble little village, there lived a fine-looking girl named Maria. Some say she was the most beautiful girl in the world. And because she was so beautiful, Maria thought she was better than everyone else. As Maria grew older, her beauty increased, and her pride in her beauty grew too. When she was a young woman, she would not even look at the young men from her village. They weren't good enough for her. Abuela, when I marry, Maria would say, I will marry the most handsome man in the world. And then one day, into Maria's village, rode a man who seemed to be just the one she had been talking about. He was a dashing young ranchero, the son of a wealthy rancher from the southern plains. He was the best rider in the world. In fact, if he owned a horse and it grew tame, he would give it away and go rope a wild horse from the plains. He thought it wasn't manly to ride a horse if it wasn't half wild. He was handsome, and he could play the guitar and sing beautifully. Maria made up her mind that was the man for her, and she knew just the tricks to win his attention. If the ranchero spoke to her when they met on the pathway, she would turn her head away. When he came to her house in the evening to play his guitar and serenade her, she wouldn't even come to the window. She refused all of his costly gifts. The young man fell for her tricks. That's Maria. Yo sé yo puedo ganar su corazón. I can win her heart, and I will marry that girl. Everything turned out as Maria planned. Before long, she and the ranchero became engaged, and soon they were married. At first, things were fine. They had 2 children, and they seemed like a happy family together. But after a few years, the ranchero went back to the wild life of the prairies. He would leave town and be gone for months at a time. And when he returned home, it was only to visit his children. He seemed to care nothing for the beautiful Maria. He even talked of setting Maria aside and marrying a woman of his own wealthy class. As proud as Maria was, of course, she became very angry with the ranchero. She also began to feel anger towards her children because he paid attention to them but just ignored her. Una noche, as Maria was strolling with her 2 children on the shady pathway near the river, a monsoon storm began to roll in. At this moment, the ranchero came by in a carriage. An elegant lady sat at the seat beside him. He stopped and spoke to his children, but he didn't even look at Maria. He whipped the horse up on the street, and the lightning crashed and the thunder rolled in, and it began to rain. Then something snapped within Maria. Terrible rage filled her, and it all turned against her children. And although it is sad to tell, the story says that Maria, in her anger, seized her 2 children and threw them into the river. The raging waters consumed the children, and then she realized what she had done. She ran down the bank of the river, reaching out her arms to them. And as she was running, she tripped on a large white rock, hit her head, and died instantly. The next morning, a traveler brought the word to the villagers that a beautiful woman lay dead on the bank of the river. That is where they found Maria, and they laid her to rest where she had fallen. But the first night that Maria was in the grave, the villagers heard the sound of crying down by the river. It was not the wind, it was La Llorona crying. And they saw a woman walking up and down the bank of the river, dressed in a long white robe, the way they had dressed Maria for the burial. Now listen closely, friends. Not long ago, a group of kids was outside playing until their parents called them in for supper. One boy refused, saying he wanted to watch the moon rise. So he sat down on a large white rock next to the river. In the distance, he saw a figure coming toward him through the trees. As it came closer, he heard, "Ay, Dios mío, mis hijos." When the figure got closer, she put her hands on his shoulders, but they were the hands of a skeleton. He was looking right in the face of La Llorona, but La Llorona didn't have a face. It was just a skull. So children, be warned not to go out in the dark, for La Llorona might snatch them and never return them. This was the first story of the season of fear. Woohoo! We are officially in the Halloween season. So happy Halloween, my friends. Well, that was La Llorona, and this version was made available through the Nebraska Folklife Network. And I added an ending from an article, The Untold Arizona, The Legend of La Llorona, The Weeping Woman by Laurel Morales. There's a section where she interviewed a storyteller. His name is Tony Norris, and this is how he ended his story, which I thought was pretty cool. So I snagged it and added it to this one. Now, this story has many incantations and has been brought to life via movies and plays. Have you heard a different version of this story? If you have, please let me know your version by stopping by our Instagram page. If you enjoy listening as much as I enjoy creating, please let me know by writing a review wherever you listen to your podcast, just so others can know too. It really does help bring awareness about the show to others, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening to How About a Story and joining me on this wacky, crazy journey. This podcast was performed, edited, and produced by me, Isaura Vanegas. Until next time, my friends, what stories will you be getting into? Special shout out goes to friend of the podcast, Jason Showard, for helping out on all technical aspects of sound. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ambos a dos, mata lile, lile, lile. Ambos a dos, mata lile, lile, lo. ¿Qué quiere usted? Mata lile, lile, lile. ¿Qué quiere usted? Mata lile, lile, lo.